Did the Bulldogs finally show some pride in the jersey against the Raiders? Are the Bulldogs getting dudded by TPJ, or is it just another media beat up by the journalists? What does Gus have to say about planning for the Bulldogs in the short and long term? And another round of rugby league and another showing of poor officiating by the referees. All this and more on today's episode of the Kennel podcast. And if you haven't done so already, or if you're new to the podcast, like and subscribe these videos. We have a lot planned in the next few weeks. And if you subscribe, you won't miss out on any of it. And as always, I'm joined by my trusty co-host, Dibbo. Welcome, Dibbo. How you doing?
Welcome. Yeah, good to be back again. Mondays, Tuesdays, whatever day we do it. Always a pleasure.
How's the weekend? Enjoy the footy?
Yeah, I enjoyed the footy. Some shock results there. Whatever. I mean, I thought Souths were going to pick it up, but they've just gone missing this last month. And I think they're just on the outer. I think they might actually miss the 8, which is going to be a big shock.
How good are the Knights going, though?
Yeah, they surprised us. What are they, 7 in a row, 8 in a row?
7 in a row now, yeah.
How long have they done that for? 20 years or something more?
Probably longer.
Since John's days, maybe?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Talking about another era now, yeah.
They had lean years. They're getting the spoon. They got the spoon, 3 times in a row. And they, after Wayne Bennett left, they weren't sure where the club was going. But look, it's not a bad thing to see them up there performing for their fans in the Hunter. Their fans have stuck by them throughout all the tough years, and they're coming good in the right time of the season. But enough about non-Bulldogs talk. What did you think of the Bulldogs against the Raiders this week?
I thought, definitely offered a more spirited performance. I know people can say Canberra was underwhelming, but Canterbury were on level terms with them for about 60, 65 minutes. Canterbury should have went on and probably stole that game. But, that's what's been lacking this year. Someone with a killer blow. I mean, you got Averillo who's got that killer blow, but there's not enough of those in the side. Especially if you watch the game, Averillo was threatening every time. But just lacking class players across. Again, poor use of the bench. I think Tevera Pangai got 9 minutes.
Oh, no, I think he got 25 altogether.
25.
Yeah, he got 25 minutes.
Yeah, Flanagan, what did he even get? So
maybe 15, 12,
some
15
of those
minutes.
interchanges are still...
Yeah, look, it's one of those things that I think Ciraldo's still tweaking. It's been such a disjointed situation where they haven't been able to make any solid decisions, any consistent decisions about the team. And I think Ciraldo's sort of struggled to find how his rotation works. But I think, and let me know what you think. I don't think the attack was too bad. I hope that Toby Sexton next year gets first crack at the halfback jersey, because I do think that when he and Burton combined, our attack looked a lot better than it has for a while. And I think with Sexton there, he's that combination seems to be starting to click a little bit. I think if we can continue to build that on the off season and our forwards can get some momentum, there's a lot of potential for that 6 and 7 combination. Because one thing I saw was that he was running the ball a little bit more. He scored that one try, that solo effort try of him running the ball. He ran the ball a few times and looked very dangerous. But also, I liked it when he spread the ball to Burton. Burton was able to get out to Blake Wilson. So there is some good there to be had in terms of our attack. But as usual, it comes down to our defense. What do you think? How do you think the Sexton and Burton went?
I mean, they posted 4 tries on the board. So, I mean, there was a variety. The backs are running off them. How long have they had together? 1 month, 6 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that will get better for the Bulldogs. They'll be there. Obviously, their starting combination next year. I don't see otherwise unless they sign some significant half from another club. That will push one of them into a different position. But they'll be starting halves. I mean, probably judge them on about the first 2 months next year. Obviously not enough time this year together, but I think, you know what? This game they did actually pretty well. Yeah. Canterbury just didn't take their chances. They threatened numerous times and just let themselves down in the end, because I thought Canberra was ripe for the taking. They seemed very lackluster. I just thought Canberra's going to be in danger here, but then somehow they pulled it off. So,
yeah, I think one one of the problems with the Bulldogs, and you go back to early in the season, even when we were playing a lot better at like against Melbourne and Tigers that we won, it just seems like the Bulldogs can't play 80 minutes. Even at our best, we're a 65-minute team.
I think their fitness was lacking against Canberra again. I mean, yeah. I think it's a big change you guys are going to need in the off-season. New fitness guru. I mean, the zip seems to go from the side in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Just have nothing. But I mean, if you look at, Kikau being off for the whole season, Thompson being off for the whole season, Liam Knight coming in new. So our forward pack as it stands right now hasn't played together at all.
Defense still needs a big tweak. Like defense was your letdown on the weekend, as you touched on. Attack was there. Just got to make sure they don't drop those balls. Your defense is a massive letdown. Look, your forward pack I thought was mark improvement. Thompson and Kikau seem to be doing well together. So even Liam Knight in stages was good for you guys. He was playing starting front rower. Hasn't played first grade for most of the year, so it was a big step up.
Scored his first try for the Bulldogs on the weekend.
Yeah, it was a good try too. Very good try.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a few defensive lapses, but I just thought he was too good to play reserve grade. So it's good that Canterbury picked him up and took him on.
Yeah, I think, look, if we do sign Taukei'aho and if we do retain Luke Thompson for next year, I do think that, I don't know, depending on what the other issues are that are causing the lapses in defence, I don't think we have an overall bad team. We've got a lot of youngsters that have now been blooded and have experience. Like, for example, on the weekend, another bright spark for the team, or another bright point for the team was Harrison Edwards was brought into the team to replace Raymond Fatala-Mariner, who was injured in the warm-up. And he started at lock. But he played 80 minutes. Harrison Edwards played 80 minutes, made 53 tackles or 52 tackles, close to 100 metres. That's what you want from your lock.
That's the theme of Canterbury this year. So a player goes down in the warm-up. Geez, what's new? I think no one was even surprised. I think no one even batted an eyelid.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, well.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep. Oh, lucky it's not 2 or 3 this time.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly a good point.
That's probably what they all thought. So, yeah. Just on Taukei'aho, I'm just interested to see, how's his body going to hold up next year? Because I thought he was a brilliant player at the Roosters. He used to make huge meters, huge run meters, huge defence, goal kicker. I found it surprising that he left the Roosters to that early. I thought he still had another 3 or 4 years in him, but then, I mean, his injury record's not good. And even at the Catalans, I know they're top of the table. He hasn't played that many matches. And, yeah, I'm just interested to see, has his body, is his body going to be good for next year? And he's, if they manage him well, I'm sure they can get him fit and firing. But that's the only concern I got with Taukei'aho is his fitness. I mean, his body, basically. He can play 80 minutes when he's fit, but it's just his body holding up is the concern there. That's the only concern I'll have.
I mean, going off what happened this year, we don't want anyone to play 80 minutes because
it might be a blessing that he's played less games.
It might be. Look, it's just with now, Tavita Pangai Jr. leaving, our forward stocks are even, more shallow than they were, earlier in the year. So next year, we're going to be down a couple of forwards short. I'm not sure where we're going to be able to fill those voids, but we're going to need to be quick and be smart with some of the decisions that the team makes because if we don't have any, go forward next year, we're going to have the same fate and potentially be worse off next year. The Tigers have recruited well. Today was confirmed that they've got Adam Cesar coming to them. They've also signed Jaden Sullivan. Dragons, they've got a new coach coming in who's going to change the systems. They have a decent team.
They won their debut.
What was that?
They won their debut under Benji.
Yeah, Tigers won the debut, which I thought was fantastic. Good on Benji.
Yeah, the wooden spoon race is back on.
Look, I'm worried because if the Bulldogs don't pick up the act, we could actually end up with the spoon.
No, impossible.
It's not impossible, but it's unlikely.
It's impossible.
It's unlikely.
None of those sides below them are going to win both games, or one of them might, but the other won't.
But I did think as a positive, Harrison Edwards was great, and I think he's getting better and better every week, and he looks like he could be our lock solution. I thought he combines well with the halves when he can pass both sides and pass quite well. Like when that score that Blake Wilson scored, he passed out. I think it was to Sexton, then Sexton to Burton, and then Burton to Wilson.
They did well going left.
I think they did very well, and it started off there with Harrison Edwards' pass, and I think he could play that, Isaiah Wade Graham type-ish lock. Lock position.
Link ups, yep.
He can be that link man, so I think that was a very good sign.
And he did well. I mean, like, he was missing Jacob Preston, so
yeah,
that could have been all the difference there. Could have probably stole the game if you had him on board.
Oh, look, I just think we run out of any.
It was one of their better performances this year, regardless. You can make excuses for Canberra. I mean, Canberra in the game the whole way. So,
and they're desperate as well. Like, they didn't want to lose.
They had everything to play for.
Yeah.
You guys didn't have much to play for. So,
yeah, right, yeah.
He's just trying to play the spoilers. I think he's doing a decent job of it. Got another, who's got this week?
Manly.
Yeah, okay. He's going to give Manly another tough game, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, they tailed us up first game of the season, so hopefully we can come back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the first game.
I just want to say another sort of positive from the weekend was Blake Wilson. I think he's coming on in leaps and bounds. I do think he's a great winger, very young kid.
Very able.
Oh, good finisher, got speed, smart kid. It's a good problem to have. We've got heaps of wingers and centers and that. Obviously, we're going to have a few more next year as well. And then we've still got Gerald Skelton to come in as well. So I think it's a very good headache to have in our backs.
Oh, yeah.
I
just think, I just feel a bit for Skelton because I didn't see anything that warranted him missing out on first grade for the next month. I mean, I thought he did extremely well.
He played out of his skin against the Panthers. I thought,
he was good. And even the other game as well. Who was it against? The game before that?
The Broncos?
Was it? No, there was another one. The one that you guys won, I think.
The Rabbitohs?
Rabbitohs,
yeah. All three games he did well.
He did really well. Yeah. So I just thought he was unlucky to miss out footy for the next month, roughly. So,
but look, it's a good situation to be in where our backs are stocked well and with some youngsters coming through. I think we can definitely at least have that part of our team in good position. Averillo was everywhere and seemed to combine well with our halves. Against the Raiders, it was just really exciting to see him sort of do the runaround plays and things like that. Just see him sort of scheming. I thought he looked dangerous every time we got into their 20.
Spot on, yeah.
And it's disappointing. I still honestly, I'll never get over the fact that we don't have him. Look, I'm happy we got Blake Taff, but I'm still very disappointed that Averillo's going to the Dolphins. But I don't begrudge him for leaving. I think one of the problems with him staying at the Bulldogs is that he could have become like a Moses Mbai, where he could have potentially just not had a spot that he nailed down and his career gets derailed because he didn't have like a dedicated position that he was playing week in, week out. And you don't want that to happen to anyone. Like it wasn't good when it happened to Moses Mbai because it didn't suit the Doggies or Moses. And then I don't want the same thing to happen to Averillo. So I'm sure he'll go up there and Wayne will see him and be like, all right, yeah, that's where you are, your fullback or your center or something like that. And he'll absolutely kill it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He'll 100%. Absolutely kill it.
I think he's going to shine up there.
Yeah. And good luck to him. But it's as a Doggies fan, it's just.
And good news for Bulldogs fans this week, something to look forward to is you'll be the last time they'll see Parramatta play this year. They got the bye the last round. I think you noted to me earlier on before the potty, basically they're playing the Panthers. So, yeah, all gone for Parramatta.
I mean, what a fall from grace. They made the grand final last year and this year can't even make the 8. Brad Arthur's already been re-signed for another few years. I think the premiership window is done and dusted, to be honest.
I also think they won't get a new stadium for the next 150 years. I was at CommBank on the weekend. That's the second new stadium in less than 40 years. There's sides in the NRL that haven't had a new stadium for about 90 years or 100 years. Yeah. Whereas them and the Roosters got 2 stadiums in less than 40 years. So, Para, no more new stadiums for you guys. No more preferential treatment from the NRL. I think there's no more premiership. Your window's closed. That's it. 1986 will be forever.
I think it'll be a long time before they get there anywhere.
1986.
But it's interesting as well. Like even the Roosters, this year they just sort of died in the arse, and I don't think they'll make the finals either. To be honest,
no matter late run, them and Souths are on neck and neck. Actually, interestingly, Souths got the bye this week. They play each other in the last round. That might be for the final spot. It could be. I mean, I know North Queensland's still in the race.
Yeah, North Queensland's still in the race.
Who do Roosters play this week?
I'm not. I'll double check. But anyway, point is, there's a.
I can't believe the Roosters are back in the race. They've just made a run. Damn it, Newcastle were gone.
I mean, unbelievable.
7 in a
Newcastle,
row. And
yeah.
I was just like looking, it's just weird. I know I'm going to go cross codes. But Newcastle out of nowhere won 7 in a row. I think they're sitting, 7th?
Yep.
And they finished as high as 6th or 5th?
Yep.
6th. And then I was looking in the AFL, and then Carlton Blues have won 11 in a row to going from. I remember I went back. There was an article they posted a link saying Carlton put an X through the season. Gone 11 in a row since. This is how lowly they were. Despite winning 11 in a row, I think they're currently sitting 5th.
Wow, okay.
They won't get 4th. They're still 6 points behind 4th. So just to show you how lowly they were.
That's a big turnaround.
And I think they've gone into equal favourites or second favourites to win the premiership, even despite being still 6 points behind 4th. They've won 11 in a row, and most of the sides they beat are in the top 8.
Well, let me tell you, no one cares about AFL.
Yeah, I'm just giving a comparison. And you know what? In that time, Newcastle, all right, they beat Canterbury twice, but they've been in Souths
and Melbourne.
So they've been in some sides in,
in the 8
they've done well around the 4.
Yeah, they've done well.
So I mean, we all put an X for them, but they're there now.
Just want to get back to the Dogs against the Raiders. I know this is
Raiders are looking like frauds of being in the 8.
I think they are, to be honest. A couple of things about the Raiders, the game. We talked about how our team can only play for about 60 to 65 minutes. I think if we can put an 80-minute game together, I actually think we win a lot more games than we lose. Yep. Because I don't think overall we have a bad team. It's just one thing I don't think the Bulldogs have is a genuine game breaker. Like Burton's good, everyone's good. But I just don't feel like we have that game breaker. Someone that comes in there and just adds that extra X factor that gets us across the line, or adds that energy, adds that. And I don't know where we get it from. I don't know if Crichton's going to be that X factor for us, or do we really need it? Is it more just about getting our basics right? Because I feel like we were poor against the Knights, and the Knights have been playing out of their skin. So I'm going to just put that game to the side. But if you look at our team, the games that we've lost, a lot of games have been, between, say 8 and 10 points, other than when we got smashed. I feel like if we were to fix just the basics, we win. We win a lot more than we lose.
I honestly think, obviously you're not going to agree with it, but your weakness next year is going to be in your halves, because now you actually got 3 strike backs. Blake Taff, he's a game breaker. I mean, obviously I still put Averillo ahead of him, but if you look at him, what he's done for South the last 3-4 years, there's moments where he's just had individual brilliance. You have Josh Addo-Carr, he's an absolute weapon. And you got Stephen Crichton, who's another proven match winner who scores in big games. He scored in 3 grand finals in a row. Plays in the big time. Your 1 to 5 is actually going to be pretty strong. It's your 6 and 7 and their creativity. That's going to be my concern. How are they going to go? How good are they going to go? I want to be concerned about those back 5. It's the 6, because I didn't even go into Jacob Kiraz. We all know what a workhorse he is. He's just all action for 80 minutes. Do you remember that day it was about 40 degrees they were playing?
Yeah.
I think the guy must have lost about 10 kilos for how much he ran, tackled, and hit-ups and everything. The guy's energizer is phenomenal. But then, that's I'm talking about your backline. Your forwards is something else. Those young guys will be a year older. Will be about 20 more games more experienced. It's all down to them now. I mean, there's not much out there to recruit.
Look, to be honest, I don't think our 6 and 7 are the problem.
I'm not saying that's your problem. I think your 1 to 5 is good. I'm just more interested to see how your 6 and 7 is going to go.
No, I agree with you. And as we said at the top of the podcast, if they can get their combo right, I do think they can be very deadly. I genuinely believe they can be.
Yeah, of course.
But it's also about the forwards. Like for us, it's like, if you remember in 04, 05, 06, like when we had our good forward packs, they used to hunt as a pack. There were never forwards going out there to play individually. They were going out as a combined unit. Like if you remember,
they were the dog pack. You're right.
They were, right. When Emilio would do a big hit, Mason would be there tapping him. Astas would be there high fiving him. Even Tony Grimaldi would be getting in there, getting into people's faces.
Every single one of them. The bench would come on as well.
They were all lining up to pat each other on the back. They were there like hunting as a unit. You'd see O'Mealy would put a hit on, then Mason would follow that up, then Asatasi, then Price. It was one after one after one. Whereas I don't think we have that combination. We don't have that pack mentality that the Bulldogs are known for. And to be honest, you know, we talk about the Dogs of War. I think the Dogs of War are dead and buried for a long time. And I don't think we'll ever see that again. It's going to be a very, very long time before we see something like the Dogs of War. I just don't see that it's going to happen, especially not with the current pack that we've got. Unless they get a nice rocket up the arse or something, I just don't see it. Like
there's no brutal.
There's no brutality. There's no aggression. Like I want to see that aggression.
There's no bruises in that squad.
Yeah, there's just no. There aren't any. I thought Tavita Pangai could have been that, but Tavita Pangai, as we know, is leaving. But he just never like. Maybe there was too much pressure on him. I don't know, but
well, I was seeing you going on to Pangai. Yeah, what's going on there?
It's interesting, actually. The media were insinuating that the Bulldogs were doing something dodgy and that Tavita was getting $250K from next year and that, you know, the Bulldogs were getting dudded or you know, some sort of agreement was happening so because the Bulldogs wanted to get rid of Tavita Pangai Jr., for example. And actually, one of the journalists, Danny Weidler's, come out and actually published his deed of release showing that Tavita Pangai Jr. will get no dollars, will get zero next year when he leaves.
Well, why should he get $1 anyway? You know, I mean, he's left his contract early. He's actually not playing. So why is he entitled?
Well, it's not about. Well, a lot of people were insinuating that the Bulldogs were willing to pay Tavita Pangai Jr. out to get rid of him.
Just to move him on. Right. Okay.
Right.
Well, yep.
Typical parasitical journalists trying to make something out of nothing.
Just to have a story. Yeah.
Just to have a story when Tavita Pangai Jr. has clearly come out and he said, I have some personal things that he didn't want to go into. He's made decision he wants to move back to Brisbane. He wants to leave rugby league, have a go at boxing, right? He's got a trainer that he's been training with, you know, since COVID, for boxing. And here is the media trying to make a big circus out of it.
And if that falls through, so what? He'll give it a shot for a whole year and then Wayne will come calling?
Well, Wayne's already said if Tavita, you know, ever wants to come back to rugby league, I'll be the first to take him back. And you know what? No hate from me. Like, good luck. I mean, the guy's asked to leave early. He doesn't want to pay out, doesn't want anything. He just wants to leave. If he goes to boxing, doesn't work, and he comes back, man, best of luck to him. Yeah. Look at Val Holmes, went to NFL, came back to the Cowboys.
How long was he out for? 2 years?
A year, 18 months or something? Yeah. Right. Hayne, same thing. Like, whatever. You know, life goes on, footy goes on.
Exactly.
Let's just not, like, the media wants to make a big beat up out of nothing. Like, let the guy's obviously dealing with some mental health issues at the moment. He's decided to give up rugby league. He's giving up $750,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
It's $15K a week. That's
minimum.
That's more than what people make in 2 months.
Just let the guy go. He's made a decision for himself. Yeah. Gus Gould came out.
It's big sacrifice.
Yeah, he said it came as a shock to him. You know, Seraldo said it's come as a shock to him. And you know what? The media doesn't need to make a big deal out of this, right? The guy's being straight out, he's being honest. He wants to go, give another sport a go. And if he comes back to rugby league and someone else can get the best out of him, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, he had it all there. He could have sat comfortable, earning his $750 a week for the next few years, but you know, it's a big sacrifice.
Yeah,
you know, he had it easy, but just show you the magnitude. $750, $0 now. So
it's actually tougher for him to walk away than it is to stay. Because if he stayed, he can lazy around for the next year.
Of course.
Get dropped or whatever. And then if the club wanted to get rid of him, they would have had to pay him out to get rid of him. But
then, you know, even if he just has a few mediocre years on $750, the next club's picking him up for about $400,000 or $500,000. So
he's still.
I mean, he's set for life, but show the big sacrifice he's making.
Yeah, it's
and in a sport like boxing, you're in there by yourself. No one's got your back in that ring. It's you.
Yeah.
You know, one hit and you're done in most instances. Whereas on the rugby league field, you got 12 other mates out there, plus the refs. But if you miss a tackle, there's somebody there to cover your ass. You have a poor game, there's 12 other blokes plus the bench to cover you.
Exactly right. So, yeah, no, look, good luck to TPJ. I hope, you know, he fulfills his dream, and I'll be following his boxing career quite closely.
Huge sacrifice.
Best of luck to you, TPJ.
I'm sure everyone will, yeah.
So this week, the Bulldogs come up against the Manly Sea Eagles.
Hey, it's a home game this time.
Yeah, in our core stadium. The corresponding match, round 1 this year, in Manly, we got smashed 36-6.
Yeah, that was a lot. Bulldogs had a big preseason. There was a lot of promise, a lot of hope. And then they actually put in a stinker against Manly. Yeah, even though it was only 36-6, that was.
It was a horrible start to the season. But, the same match last year, the Bulldogs did have a resounding win against Manly to go into the off-season on a positive note.
Yep.
And look, Manly have officially been ruled out of the finals because they can't make it mathematically anymore. So I guess both teams were playing for a bit of pride on Sunday.
I reckon Canterbury's more up for this one. Manly's just gone the disappointment of, being knocked out of the finals, in a close game against the Warriors. So, yeah, I'm sure they're filthy in regards to this one. So I think the disappointment's hanging all over them. They're going to think, it's only 2 games, we can't make it anymore. Whereas Canterbury want to make up for a very lackluster season. Players are coming back on deck. Their performances have started improving. So I reckon Canterbury's going to be up for this one. They got a lot to prove.
Well, I think a couple of things, yeah. Manly have dropped Josh Schuster for this week. He's playing reserve grade.
Yep.
Right? So that's interesting. I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing for the Bulldogs, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how they attack without Schuster, because I feel like he has his defensive problems, but in attack, he can be very unpredictable. He can pull out a kick or a pass or something crazy out of his, out of his kit bag and just take you by surprise.
Schuster needs to be in the game for 80 minutes. He goes missing for large periods. He has the best example sitting next to him standing next to him, Daly Cherry Evans. Daly Cherry Evans is literally running for 80 minutes. He's tackling for 80 minutes. He's demanding the ball for 80 minutes. Schuster, even if he's tired and breathing heavy, he's got to do that. The only way he's going to improve is pushing himself, breaking those barriers, improving his match fitness. Can't just sit there back and just wait for it to unfold. He goes missing for large periods.
No, look, I agree with you, which is why I'm saying I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing that he's been dropped. But, the other thing that I think is important is that there's so much up in the air at the Bulldogs. Like, there are so many players with still not signed for next year who are playing for contracts, who are playing for the future, essentially.
Look, there's not much available on the market. I reckon about 3/4 or 80% of those guys will get re-signed. There's really not much players off contract. Unless you can coerce other players to break their contract and get a release from their club, there's actually not much available out there. Honestly, a lot of squads are looking the same. It's actually the year after, 2025, that you will probably see change. You're going to see big changes, especially at your club. It's not next year. So your best bet is those boys that are all young and debuted this year. They improved markedly and rapidly. So,
but I mean, I'm talking like Corey Waddell, Carl Flanagan, Jaden Okumbo.
Yeah, 3/4 will still get re-signed. There's not much available out there.
I mean, I know the Bulldogs might decide not to re-sign some of those players.
Oh, they definitely won't. I'm just saying majority will get re-signed.
Braden Burns, don't forget he's still off contract as well.
I think he's a good acquisition,
Yeah,
but when he's played, he's been good. It's just had that bad injury run, but he's overcome it.
But we've got a lot of, we've got a lot of centers and wingers for next year, so I'm not sure if he's surplus to requirements. So it's like,
but don't you want that depth?
Look, I agree. You need that top 30. You need that experienced top 30, and I think he falls right in line. But then, does he take the position of a youngster like Skelton, for example?
But I just think Braden Burns is really good in defence. He's not.
He was found out a couple of times against the Raiders.
Yeah, that one-off game. So
yeah, but look, he's good. I'm not going to bag him out for one poor tackle or whatever. But as I say, there's still a lot of people playing for contracts. But I also think that the team itself should be playing for a positive end to 2023 for 2024. You don't want to end the season, with losses. Not. You want to put a couple of wins back to back if possible, just to show the coach what is possible for next year.
Yeah, I think Canterbury can get them this game. I just think Manly's just really disappointed. I don't see how they bounce back again after that loss. Whereas Canterbury,
they have good forwards. That's the thing. If our forwards don't muscle up, they will run all over us.
Yeah, you're right. It's in the forwards basically. I think Garrick's not playing this week, or is he?
I'm not sure if Garrick's not playing, but I know they're getting Aloye back. They're getting they'll get Sipley back.
So they really still want to win Manly.
I'm sure they want to win. I don't think that Seibold wants to go into the season losing either, having not made the finals.
Right.
So I think that's a big thing.
It's Jason Saab and Josh Adokar coming up on the same side.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
What about Okulo is another one? He's another rocket.
He's an absolute
Garrick's
speed
another quick. They've got some speedsters.
Yeah. I mean, we've got decent speed. We've got Wilson, Averillo, and Adokar.
Actually, you know what? It's going to be an attractive game. Both sides got quick backlines.
Sunday, 2 p.m. at Accor Stadium. I'm very...
Sunday?
Sunday, yeah, Sunday 2 p.m.
Might go out there. Is that their last home game for the year?
I'm not sure. I think it may be. I'm not sure if it is.
And yep.
It'll be very interesting to see how that goes. But look, I'm saying Dogs win by 8.
Fair shout. Yeah, I'll go Dogs. I'm going to go Dogs by 4.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. My only concern is the defense.
Just hopefully Manly's forward pack turns in a disaster. So
look, it's what you can control is our forwards playing well. I think Thompson's got a few more games under his belt. Kikau as well, a few more games under his belt. Liam Knight starting. Max King off the bench was pretty good. So our forward pack's not too bad. I think we can be a little bit better. And I think the thing with the Doggies is I think that their defense for 65 minutes was quite decent. I don't think for 65 minutes it wasn't bad. Like it was when they were on our 20-meter line. We did, we held, we shifted well. It was just a couple of lapses, which is standard. But they really sort of died in that 65th minute. So I want to see us play deep into the 80th minute. That's where I think it's going to make a big difference. That's where we win the game. But yeah, so I'm tipping Dogs by 8. I just want to go over some quick comments that Gus made on Twitter.
Yep.
I posted this today. He said, "We'll be locking ourselves away in the coming weeks to discuss everything to do with our club, our systems, and our people. Honesty in self-appraisal is crucial. That's the start. From there, we'll be discussing our strategy for the future, both short-term and long-term.
Yep, good.
I will stress at the beginning of this process that there are no bad ideas.
Of course not.
Let's put everything on the table and discuss the merits. Every bad idea gets us closer to a good idea. Send through as many bad ideas as you like."
Move back to Belmore full time.
I think it's the first best idea.
I love that stadium.
Yeah, it's a mad stadium.
I'm actually going there this week on Saturday. There's the Division 1 Junior League Grand Final on. So the 10-1s Bankstown Bulls are actually playing Moorebank, who knocked over the undefeated, previously undefeated Bankstown Sports. So watching Finch and the boys, and then afterwards we're going to Burger District for a big feed with the whole team.
Stop mentioning them until they sponsor us, yeah?
Mate, I'm just telling you, I'm just looking forward to Saturday, so it's going to be a big day. And look, there's other grand finals out there this week as well, so yeah, I'm looking forward to not watching one game, probably about 3 or 4. It's like seeing, those kids are so talented.
Yeah, they are.
10-year-olds running unders and overs and X-plays and decoy runs and runarounds and, just, wow, 10 years old doing that. He's got a good junior comp.
He's hoping it translates to something.
The future is bright, I'll tell you now. And all these kids want to play for Canterbury.
Yeah, they love it.
To every one of them, they want to play for Canterbury. And I just tell them, why did you play for that disaster of a club? Shut your mouth. We're going to take them. We're going to be the boys in 10 years' time. That's what I get told from 10-year-olds.
What do you think about Gus's Twitter comments?
Yeah, good. He didn't have any meltdowns, so that's good. No, look, I think that's very good. He's outlined short-term and long-term. Key indicator. He knows short-term, these results, got to improve rapidly. But he's still got his long-term plan, which I know is on the junior focus and strengthening the junior sides and the junior comps. So you could tell he went and recruited heavily for junior sides, and the results started showing. So, yeah, he wants to strengthen. He wants to obviously broaden the junior talent or the junior base. So he's obviously established in Toowoomba, another feeder site for you guys. I'm sure he'd want to take a few country, like Group 7, for example, or maybe Group 11, just to throw some digits out there. I'm sure he wants a whole group for himself. I'm sure he probably got a few scouts or areas in New Zealand as well, maybe in Papua New Guinea or Fiji.
Yeah, definitely got something in.
If these NRL sides don't have a base for example, in Fiji or Papua New Guinea, then absolutely uppercut yourselves, whoever's in charge there for, having that person in that job. So, yeah, honestly, it's, and soon enough, I'll even say start rating Melbourne's, junior. They got a whole city to themselves. Start rating them.
Well, that ain't even...
Their junior base in Melbourne is absolutely growing. I think a few months ago, I drove past a rugby league game and I went, paused. I stopped over on the side just to have a look. I think it was around the Broady area.
That's good.
So...
look, for me, I think it's great that hopefully they are going to be honest. I think that if we're going to be successful or more successful next year, there needs to be a lot of honesty at Cameron Torello's decision-making.
Yep.
And some of the incidents that have happened at training.
Well, you guys are stuck with him for another 2 years, I'd say. I mean, if results, I think he still survives next year. It's the year after. But something's got to happen. Look, I think you guys will improve.
Well, we have to. I don't think there's.
I think it's just this year was really thrown into disarray with the amount of injuries you guys had.
But that's still, I mean, unacceptable. We can use all these excuses, but there's just no excuse for injuries, no excuse for any of that. And I think it's quite. We can't keep turning to those excuses. And if there has to be honesty, Gus, you need to question some of those coaching decisions. You need to question some of those training mishaps and how they happened. I know that things happen at training all the time, but the amount of things that happened with the Bulldogs this year, there's got to be a little bit of a process review around how everything has gone down, because there was a lot of injuries. And, if this happens again next year and things aren't fixed, what excuses do you have then? Surely you have a long time from now until the beginning of the season 2024 to fix those problems.
Yeah.
And it's interesting as well. He said that for him, there's no difference between running last and running ninth. The aim is to challenge for premierships every year.
He's right. If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, he's pretty much is what he's saying.
If you're not in the finals, then you're essentially last. Even if you're ninth, you're last. He's right. It's pointless. You want to try, you want to challenge for that premiership. You want to get in the finals.
Now, I mean, I like that thinking, but I don't know if that's a cop-out to say whether we're last next year or ninth, it's not going to make a difference. I hope that's not. I hope that's not the thinking that's creeping in.
If you guys, for example, finish 10th next year or 9th, mate, everyone will say, all right, you know what? We went from being 15th to on the cusp. Yeah, next year, you know what? Our boys, we're going to recruit a few more, and our boys are more experienced. Everyone will be full of confidence that they'll make the 8. So it does a lot, especially with a club that. I feel like they've bottomed out, and they can only they will keep recruiting. I feel like if they do ascend to about 10th or 9th, it's only up for them after that again.
I mean,
just on this, who do you think goes down bottom next year? I know it's
a tough question, man.
I haven't seen the Dragons really recruit anyone besides a coach. I haven't really seen the Tigers recruit anyone besides a young half who's had his injury problems and hasn't really got a chance, and then an aging half in Aiden Caesar. And I know Benji's raw into the role. He's a shrewd thinker, the best attacker probably in the modern era. I mean, what have those two sides done? Canterbury, they're relying on their local. It's probably 2025 for those three sides. Do they improve? But who recedes from the other sides? Does Manly start falling down? Their halfback's 35 next year. He's not getting any younger. How long can he keep it up for?
It's a good question. What about the Rabbitohs?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they've just really fallen off. Their halfback's not producing.
I mean,
something I outlined a while ago. So
yeah, look, and you were spot on. And Gus Gould also said about it.
I just didn't think Ilias was. I said it earlier in the season in regards to the podcast. So
no, it's a good call. Look, I still think he's young and he needs time. But I mean, one of the stories coming out of
Redfern?
out of Canberra is actually that he wants to backflip on his deal with the Rabbitohs, apparently.
Jack Wyden?
Yeah.
After what?
I'm not sure what.
I just didn't understand why he needed to go there. To play what? Cody Walker's at 6. Jara's at lock, or you got other forwards there. So where's he going to play? In the forwards, in the centres, in the where?
I don't know.
He's a former fullback as well, don't forget.
Yeah, that's right. He can play fullback.
Well, him and Latrell, they're both dominant players. So how does that work for him?
I mean, I don't know. It's just been alleged by the media, but...
Oh, that'd be nice. Souths can go back to being cellar dwellers like they were for 2 decades before Russell Crowe bought the club.
No, the referees will continue to help them out.
No. Well, no one needs to help him out.
Well, now they will.
See, ownership of the club is a big thing. For 2 decades, they'll literally cellar dwellers. Russell Crowe came in, transformed that club. Look at their membership sales.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, look at the events they put on. They actually take games all over Australia, more than anyone else. They've taken games to New Zealand, Perth, Darwin. Every state in Australia, they literally take a game. They are, honestly, I think Souths do it more than anyone. They do a lot for their members. They got that charity arm called Souths Cares. Just goes to show you, have good owners, and look at that. Yeah. Russell Crowe.
I agreed. Best
owner in the game, I say. I mean, St. George got a win, but that's just if you take the mask off, win's actually, it's really the Steelers disguised as win. That was that whole sale, honestly.
Oh, my God. The Dragons supporters are having a sook about the Steelers.
Is that right?
Oh, my God.
That's what it was. It was honestly.
St. George.
Imagine having billionaire owners and they're running the club worse than a pub, a a pub footy side run on meat raffles. That's what it is.
Anyway, enough of your sooking, bro.
Hey,
No one wants to hear it.
To come in,
no
man.
one wants to hear it.
We've literally listened to you having Canterbury rants for 25 rounds.
This is our Bulldogs podcast, brother.
I deserve 30 seconds of fame.
This is our Bulldogs podcast, and all the fans are with me.
I deserve 30 seconds of putting down my club so everyone else could have a laugh at my club.
It's interesting, but the Tigers have parted with Tim Sheens early, and Benji's taken over.
How did Tim take that? Or I think he probably told him to part with him. I don't think he got forced out.
I don't know if he was forced out.
I think he's told him, look, give Benji these last few games. I'm 73. I don't think he got forced out. It's probably just a media beat up.
It could be, but I just thought that they were going to stick with Sheens for 24 as well, and then Benji, because there are other reports coming out that the Tigers aren't fully sort of confident in Benji being the full-time coach.
He had a good first game.
He had a very good first game.
There was no fluke.
But it was off the back of some RP brilliance.
RP could play halfback in his, Look, I don't think, I looked at Benji. He wasn't even panicking in that box, even when the Dolphins caught up. He just seemed cool, calm.
I thought the Tigers played well.
Long time going. I think Robbie Farah wants the coaching director or something.
No, general manager. Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, which I think
him and Benji get on like bread and butter.
Yeah.
Despite all the fake media reports, they're actually great mates. So
they can definitely rebuild that whole club around Benji and Farah. That's what I think.
Why do you need a bunch of 67-year-olds still running the club?
Yeah,
those guys were once Benji's age.
Yeah, that's right.
And Benji and Robbie have been there, done that. So they're more qualified.
They embody the club, definitely.
They're more qualified to be there than the other old horses.
Yeah, and as we were saying, Rabbitohs have shit the bed. Latrell Mitchell's out for the last game of the season against the Roosters, which could all but decide their fate. Yeah, it's confirmed he'll get 1 week unless he.
I think I've got a worrying feeling the Roosters are going to steal that last spot.
Unless they, what's it called?
That's two clubs you want shitting the bed, the bed for the next 20 years.
Yeah,
Roosters and Souths.
To be honest, though, I know this is a very, very, very hot take, but I actually think the Rabbitohs will be better with Blake Taaffe at fullback.
Well, they made a grand final with him at fullback.
I just think Latrell's come back from his calf injury and he's looked a little bit.
I think he needs a new club.
He's looked a little bit lackluster.
Honestly, he needs a new club.
I love Latrell. I think he's a great player. I just think he hasn't come back with that energy that...
I think his ego's gotten the better of him. He thinks honestly, they've let his ego grow at Souths. They honestly treat him like he's in cotton wool all the time.
But is it him or is it the coach not knowing how to manage...
It's the club. It's not the coach. It's the club. They've basically watered his ego, basically made it grow bigger. Guess it's not the coach. I'll tell you now. Jason doesn't water people's egos.
I don't know. I think that Jason Demetrio is more interested in blaming other teams than actually...
try to take the head off himself.
But that's what he throughout this whole year, every single time something has happened, he's come out and tried to attack other players, attack other teams, attack the referees, but never has he come back and looked inwards to say, this is what my team's doing wrong. And I just don't know if he's the man that the Rabbitohs need. They need a stronger personality than Jason Demetrio to control their egos at the Rabbitohs. Or maybe it's Cameron Murray's fault that he's not controlling his team. Like there's so many different things at play that could happen. But
they're a good bunch. What I'm alluding to, ego, is Latrell just, he just hasn't taken a long look at himself and literally put up his hand and just literally launched a blitzkrieg on the opposition for 80 minutes. There's times in the games he's saying 15, 20 minutes, hello, Latrell.
Wake up.
Latrell, come on, Latrell. And I absolutely love him. Because when he turns it on, there's no one better to watch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you just start getting frustrated. You think, come on, man.
Yeah. No,
look it up.
That's why I think maybe a coaching thing. I don't know. I just don't rate Jason Demetrio as a coach. No disrespect to him personally, just as a coach. I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy.
I just think Latrell needs a new club, personally. I think he needs to go to a club, different environment, where he's not going to be treated like, he's some sort of god, for example. I know I shouldn't use that word, but...
Yeah, but shouldn't that come down to the coach?
I reckon throw him at St. George. He'll just turn around and think, geez, look at this squad I got with me. I really have to do something.
No, get out of here.
Or even at Canterbury.
What a stupid St. George supporter. Come on, bro.
Or throw him at Canterbury.
No way.
You won't take him at Canterbury?
It's not that I won't take him, but it's just so hypothetical. What are we going to do with him?
What are you going to do with him? It's what he's going to do for your club.
I don't know, man. I think I don't like these hypotheticals because, I don't know if Cameron Ciraldo will be that coach to bring the best out of him. That's the truth.
You know what? You don't really need someone to bring the best out. It's the situation or the environment.
No, but it's the coach that's the coach's job. That's the coach's job.
Look, there's only one Wayne Bennett, so
yeah, look, that's the problem.
And maybe one Craig Bellamy, and that's
one Des Hasler.
Yeah, other than that, That's about it.
Knights get lucky again. They score off an 8-tackle set. That was what a mistake.
So before we complain about 7 tackles, now it's gone to 8. Jeez.
What a mistake. Oh,
Bloody
man.
hell. So the NRL came out with the usual Monday apology.
As usual,
Stamping
Graham
for 8 months a
Annesley.
year. We apologise for costing this team 2 points this week.
Oh, mate.
I think they've apologised to the West Tigers and the Dragons maybe 5 or 6 separate times this year for costing them 2 points. Just give them 10 points already. Rewrite the finals race.
And the scary part is we're so close to the finals that I think that some finals games are going to be decided.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
Remember when North Queensland kept getting dudded? I think they got dudded against the Roosters, got dudded against the Sharks.
And Manly.
And 3 years in a row. And then
right.
finally, fourth year, the NRL was like, you know what? We got to gift the Cowboys a grand final.
Hey, they earned that grand final. Let's be honest.
That was a crazy finish.
Amazing.
It was a crazy start because I think off the first set of the game, Corey Oates went, 90 metres?
Something like that, yeah.
And then the last tackle of the game, oh, wow.
Michael Morgan.
Yeah, what a grand final that was.
And just want to end off, Pappenhausen might be back for the Storm this week.
I don't think he's ready.
You think he needs more time in reserves?
Yeah, I don't think he shouldn't play this year at all. That knee is just a whole reconstruction. For me, it's like a horse snapping its fetlock in like 30 different places and having it re-put together. Normally a horse...
Speak English, what's a fetlock?
It's part of a bone on the horse. So, normally horses, when they have such bad breaks, it's either... it's a cruel world.
Are you comparing Pappenhausen to a horse?
I'm just saying. Did you know? You saw what happened to his knee?
Yeah,
he shattered
horrible,
20 different places or something. They've reconstructed it together. That knee's not going to.
But he's had some good showings in reserve grade.
Reserve grade. Okay. Some of those guys are probably earning $400 a week. Probably pickpacket, whatever.
Yeah.
On work at, or might be plumbers for half the week or something, or 5 days a week.
You don't think he can come in off the bench for 15, 20 minutes a game and just tear teams apart?
I don't think he'll be even near as quick as he used to be or zippy. He needs more time. Look, he might come back and be the same, but with a bad knee injury like that, I'll be stunned if he's as effective as before.
I just love seeing him play. It'd be so good to see him play
he's like a Mighty Mouse or Danger Mouse.
He's incredible.
Actually, Mighty Mouse was Shannon Gallant. He could be Danger Mouse.
Yeah, whatever.
Remember Shannon Gallant?
No.
He was like a miniature Mighty Mouse for the Cowboys and the Tigers. He was just miniature. He was probably about 160 centimetres tall.
Yeah.
And he, in a 40-metre zip, he was probably the quickest player in the game at 40 metres or 20 metres. And he'd probably every time get the ball, because he was literally 1.6 metres tall, 60 kilos or 70 kilos heavy, would beat about 6-7 players in the space of 20 metres.
It's nuts.
Yeah, he was nuts. You had to watch his highlights reel. Mighty Mouse.
And with that, I think we've come to the end of the podcast.
Yep.
Anything you want to say, Debo?
I'm dying to go to Accor this week.
Yeah. Let's see if we can hook it up. Maybe we get some Bulldogs put the Kennel Fan TV out there.
Yep. Probably get Finch on there. We'll have another meltdown.
Thank you so much for making this far into the podcast. If you made it to the deep end, we just want to say like and subscribe. We've got plenty more coming. Please share this with all your NRL fans. Share this with everyone that loves rugby league. And whoever you go for, I hope you do well, except for Parramatta. Thumbs up and thanks. Have a good one.
They got Penrith.